Hello and welcome to the Weeball Podcast. It has been a big week for your boys. We're getting a lot of content ready to go for you all, but today we have our top five running backs in the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm going to throw in a little bit of a wild card for both of us, someone who's just like one of our guys, but we're going to get right into it. Tyler, how we doing, buddy?
Doing great. Like you said, a lot of content coming soon, not including clips. I believe we have 3 episodes a week coming out for essentially the next month. So there's a lot coming, you guys, especially leading up to the NFL draft. And exactly that is what we're talking about today, breaking down running backs, some of our favorites. And like Luke said, one wild card, which should be exciting.
Yeah. I am not a big running back guy, to be honest. I got one on my team that I really like, so I don't have to really worry about that position. But this was fun to watch all these running backs because it is a fun position to watch. Yeah, you just get to run at a bunch of people all day. It's fun. So let's get right in with our guy, Tyler. Who is your guy for this year's draft?
My
Not in your top
guy,
five. Not in your top
my
five.
my not top five, my wild card pick is Texas's not Bijan Robinson, but Roshan Johnson. We did not get to see him very much at the Senior Bowl because he broke his hand and then didn't practice after the first day. But he was down there in Mobile for a little bit, and where he really shined was on tape. The dude is a straight horse out of the backfield, true power back. That's what you're looking for, and that's what you get from him. He reads blocks really well. He was a quarterback coming into college. He changed positions because they didn't have depth at running back. Crazy move. You see him out of the Wildcat. He does just about everything. You even see him lead block, like as a fullback on plays for Bijan. The dude breaks tackles. He's got a little bit of juice when it comes to juking guys out. He really does like a little bit of everything, but is the quintessential power back. There aren't that many of them truly left in the NFL, but he is huge, and that's essentially what his game is. He comes in at, I'm looking right now to see his height weight, comes in at 6'2", 223. So you're getting a big body back, and any team that looks to run a power scheme could definitely get a guy like Roshan Johnson.
Yeah, I like Roshan. I think the fact that he broke his hand and finished practice at the Senior Bowl says a lot about him. I also think the fact that he was a quarterback and because of need switched positions and then Bijan came in and he stuck it out, even though he probably could have transferred somewhere and been a starter. He stuck it out in Texas. He loved being in Texas and he stayed there. And it's seemingly going to work out for him. He's still going to get drafted. He's still going to be, a talking point. But my guy, it's a smaller school guy, ECU's Keaton Mitchell. I'm a big Keaton Mitchell guy. Mostly, let me be honest with y'all, because he's fun. He's just fun to watch. He's small, shifty, fast. He's got a bit of wiggle to him. He ran a 4.37, I believe. He jumped pretty well, and he's just a fun guy to watch. There's not much tape out there on him because ECU, and I wasn't able to get my hands on a lot of it. But from what I've seen, I am a big Keaton Mitchell guy, so I'm hoping he can kind of climb boards as this process goes along because he did a lot of favors for himself at the combine. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He's fast. I didn't think he was 4.37 fast. I thought he was more 4.4 fast. 4.37 fast it's fast in the NFL,
Yeah,
especially at running back and
definitely.
especially at his size. So
Yeah,
he's
and I mean
my guy for this
size. I
draft.
just looked it up. He's like 5'9", 183. So that speed had to do him some favors that his, size did not. And like you said, at the combine, he had some great performances, and the dude just burns, and like that makes him extremely fun to watch. And he's better, mentally than he gets credit for. Everybody knows that doing prospect interviews, talking on a podcast 2-3 times a week, it comes with a necessary confidence that you have to have. And one thing that really improves confidence is the new and improved Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped. It has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of these goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming and, dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. I am blown away by the performance and craftsmanship of this trimmer. Their fourth generation trimmer offers cutting edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin safe technology. Their Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4000K LED spotlight so you can get a more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. If you thought that was good, but want to take your grooming even further to the next level, the Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker ears and nose hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. The Crop Preserver below the waist deodorant and Crop Reviver below the waist toner will change the way you approach your daily hygiene routine. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in this Performance Package 4.0, the boxers and the shed travel bag. Bring your comfort in boxers to another level. It's time to take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off with code WEBALL. That is WEBALL, WEBALL. Make sure to use it on your next purchase with Manscaped for 20% off.
All right, you want to get into the top 5 here? Let's get right to it. We're going to have similar top 5s. I feel like this top 5 group is pretty cemented. There's some people who will have one other guy in here. I'm personally not a big fan of him, but he did win my Alabama Crimson Tide game, so shout out Tank Bixby for that. Ran out of bounds in that game, so shout out to him, bro. I really appreciate you doing that. That led us to getting back and winning an SEC championship. So I appreciate you, Tank, but you're not in my top 5. My number 5 is a lot of people's number 3, actually. It is Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. I think something that doesn't do him many favors is I watched him at Michigan, and I think I just can't shake that, like, he was supposed to be physically dominant there, and he really wasn't. He's physically dominant in the Pac-12 because he's a Big Ten running back in the Pac-12.
And that's the thing. I think you see, because I watched some of his 2021 tape and then some of his last year tape, and I think you see a huge jump between those 2 seasons. And those were obviously both at UCLA, so it wasn't, like a conference jump, but you still see the fact that he became that physically dominant runner that you're looking for. And what makes him kind of special is the fact that he does it in like an outside zone running kind of offense where
he does it in a Chip Kelly offense.
A lot of the stuff is he's not downhill. He's running a lot laterally, and he's still burning people upfield and has the size to just go out and run dudes over. That versatility, like you want to go use him as a power back, like we were talking about Roshan. You can do that kind of stuff, but you can also do what Chip Kelly did, like what that Chip Kelly offense did, and just put him in positions where he's running outside zone. So like I think the versatility might make up for the fact, especially with how well he performed this year as compared to last year, might make up for the fact that he wasn't as great early on.
I also think he is a better pass catcher than he gets credit for. I don't know. I think it's just probably because he's hard to tackle in the open field that he doesn't mind just running at dudes when he catches the ball. But it feels like he just goes. Like he doesn't try and see what the best move is once he catches the ball. He just kind of goes for it and sees what happens. And because he is bigger and stronger than most other people on the field, he does kind of just bowl through them.
But I think you're honestly taking a little bit of credit away from the way he moves in the open field. It might not be as much when he's
that's not what I'm saying. Like I meant when he's catching the ball, he doesn't like. It's not like some running backs have a plan of attack type thing. He just goes and figures it out as he's going, which I appreciate because in the NFL, honestly, you kind of have to do that.
Yeah, that's more my type of runner, to be honest, is somebody who's just like, I want to get downhill first, ask questions later, and just kind of figure out what I'm going to do next based on like, I've already got these 3 yards. I would rather them, like I like a good patient runner, but you can be patient and aggressive at the same time in the NFL. And I think that Charbonnet kind of combines it because he'll just kind of go at somebody and then he'll figure out what he wants to do. And then sometimes you'll just see him absolutely shake a dude in the open field. And you're like, I had no clue at his size that he could be doing that.
Yeah, I also think another thing is he's had a lot of carries. He has a lot of experience, and he has obviously a lot of carries in 2 different conferences, which is big. Like him having experience in 2 different styles of play, I do think it benefits him. But because I watched him at Michigan, I think it's tainting my view of him just a little bit. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Charbonnet. He's not your number 5. let's talk about your number
Yeah,
5 now.
our number 5 and 4 are both flipped, so I have Charbonnet at 4, but my number 5 is Texas A&M's Devon Achane, who I think, like we talked about, we've talked about this, off the air, off the podcast. The dude, it's speed and potential you're looking at with Achane. He is a burner, man. What did he run at the combine? Low four
I don't
threes.
know, but it was fast. Like
It
it
was.
was
He's got. Long story short, the dude's got
4.32.
burners.
4.32.
4.32. That's insanely fast, especially for somebody that we're looking at as getting workhorse type touches in college. He was that number one back, and he was really dominant. And I think that one thing that when I was watching a lot of his earlier tape, I didn't really get was a lot of time it looks like he's moving at half speed almost because of the fact that he doesn't put on the jets until he's really in the open field. But at the same time, he kind of is more of a downfield runner or a downhill runner when you look at the fact that he kind of just drifts upfield until he finds something. And I don't know how much of that's going to translate because there were not a bunch of opportunities for him to make plays. Like there might not be a lot of opportunities for him to make plays at the next level if his O line's not getting push. But he also showed that opportunity that he makes a lot of big plays, especially when the first hole isn't there. He kind of bounces outside, runs around, and then finds a lane and will get you like 30. Kind of reminds me of Kenyon Drake in that kind of way, especially early on, where it was like, oh, the hole might not be there, but I've got enough speed and like physical traits that I'll just burn somebody out to the edge.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a little bit quicker here because I feel like you covered a lot about Devon Achane. Uh, he's fast. He's good. He's good with his hands. He's good with his feet. He has good contact balance. I think that let's go. Princeton just won. We are doing this in the middle of March Madness, and Dirty Jerry's just upset Arizona. So that's great. I love Dirty Jerry's, and a New Jersey team has won a game in the NCAA tournament each of the last 6 years now. But moving on from that, Devon Achane is fast. He gets downhill. He makes things happen. He's a playmaker. I don't know how quickly he'll be a running back one, but he showed that he can do it
Yeah,
at Texas A&M.
I think the technical stuff for him is going to be the biggest thing. Like he's got to get
Yes.
better at more consistently reading blocks. You'll see times where he just kind of lingers in the backfield and is a little too patient when you want him to be aggressive and just kind of go get it. He's not big. He's like 5'8.5", I believe. So this isn't like a really big running back. He's not super creative. I mean, there are times where you'll see it. A lot of the thing with Achane is because we talk about potential, you see a lot of these things in flashes and in spurts. And you're like,
Yes.
okay, it's there. But the
Do
problem
it.
is the reason he's
He's
not
got it.
top 3 is because you're not seeing it consistently. And the top 3 guys, you're like, oh, they put it together for games at a time. While Achane, you'll see maybe 3 or 4 snaps or like 3 or 4 rushing attempts, per game where he will
You're like,
make
that's the
those
guy.
kind of
That is
plays.
an
And
NFL guy.
you're like, that's a like first round running back if he did that
Yes.
consistently, but you just
But he
don't
doesn't.
see it consistently.
And speaking of the guy who does it consistently, both of our number 3s is Tyjae Spears. You're a big Tyjae guy, but before you go off on your tangent about him, I just want to say that we watched him basically tear an ACL in front of us, and he kept running. I've never seen anyone move the way he did at the Senior Bowl. I also got to watch him versus Temple, and there is something that you see in person with him that you don't see on tape. And I don't know if it's the deceleration or the fluidity or something like that, but like I can't put my finger on what it is. But he is different to watch in person. So if you're watching him and you're saying, hey, I don't really see it with this guy, just know it's there. You just got to dig deep and really, really pay attention and really, really look for it. And the guy's going to be a lead back in the NFL. My Giants did meet with him, and I could not imagine having to deal with Saquon Barkley and Tyjae Spears. I just could not physically imagine as a linebacker having to deal with that because Dable, he's going to get weird with it. He'll put Saquon out at X receiver and something.
And Tyjae
like
has Wildcat experience, so
yeah,
God knows what you.
And
could
so
see
does
package
Saquon.
Wise. Exactly.
And so does Saquon. This would
Didn't
be
you
the
run
craziest
Wildcat with
backfield.
Matt Breida last year too?
Nah, we ran it with Saquon.
Oh, it was just Saquon. All right.
So Breida was the running back. We ran it with Gary Brightwell, which was weird.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. It made me uncomfortable, I'm going to be honest with you. But Tyjae Spears is a dog. He's just straight up. He's an NFL running back. He's a lead back in the NFL. But if you can have him as a number 2, you better have a top 5 guy in front of him because he will take his
He
job
will.
if you're trying to have him be a number 2.
That's the thing with Tajay, man. He is just he's the biggest like playmaker at running back. I mean, like not necessarily like I don't know. He's not maybe the biggest playmaker in this class, but there's something about his creativity at the position and the way that he
I think
gets
he's the most
around
creative. I don't
people.
think he's the best
He,
playmaker. I think he's the most
yeah,
creative.
he's the most creative by far. He just like I said in the receiver episode, I
Moves
like
different.
guys who just who move differently, and Tajay moves differently, and that's what we saw at that Senior Bowl. Like Luke described, that one like receiving rep where he just vanished, and all of a sudden he was behind the guy and 5 yards off of him when it looked like he was getting blanketed. That's the kind of stuff that you see the receiving upside because you're like, wow, he can run routes like that. But at the same time, you see it every time he runs the ball because he'll put a juke on somebody and you'll be like, oh, his knee's down, right? No, he didn't even touch the ground. He'll duck under them, keep going. The dude moves and contorts his body in ways that it shouldn't be possible. And obviously, that probably is what led to some of the strain that led to some of those knee injuries, which is the biggest concern with him. He did tear an ACL earlier in his career. So that's kind of the big like issue. That's what the knock
the
is
big
on
knock.
him. But I think that
His agility is a trump card.
his long speed is great. He gets from 0 to 60 like that. You'll see him get out of a break. There are
We're in a
a few
4.49
guys
today.
in this
4.47.
yeah,
4.47 today.
4.47. And there are a few guys that get from 0 to 60 out of cuts like Tajay does. You'll see him get out of the backfield. There'll be something murky up front. He'll shake a dude, and just like that, he's 20 yards downfield. And I think that kind of explosiveness combined with what is really above average contact balance. He's a smaller guy, but I think
he also
he's
has that Kadarius Toney in him. Like
he does. He really does. And the name that I came up with when I was watching him was a little bit of Michael Carter. I think that like if you look at what Michael Carter does in the league, the way that he kind of just like will maneuver his way into holes, I think that's kind of like a floor comp for him. And then some of the stuff that you see on tape, if you're a comps guy, if you're not, you're going to hate this. I kind of see a little bit of Reggie Bush, like the way that he operates out of the backfield, the way he kind of breaks guys down. It's a comp that I kind of see. And I just think that there aren't as many guys that are that explosive and that creative. As you can see, I'm completely enamored with the guy and would love to see him in Miami or just anywhere where he can be a number one.
I really hope that Miami didn't go to the pro day today. I'm praying just to make you a little bit angrier. I just like it'll just make my day because I know it won't make your day. And that sounds mean, but it's me and Tyler. It's fine. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the number 2, and this is my absolute guy. Yes, this is a little bit of there's gonna be a little bit of fanning in here because I am an Alabama fan, and number 2 for both of us is Jahmyr Gibbs. And this man is the only reason we won. Him and Bryce Young are the only reason we won any football games this year. I really wish he would have been able to be on a championship Alabama team because I know he probably would be, a first round player. I think he's first round like a first round player, but I think
I
he
agree.
would have gone in the first round if they won a national championship. Like if him and Bryce Young would have put on the absolute show that they did in a title year where they had good receivers, Ja'Cory Brooks didn't drop every ball. That's a shot at Ja'Cory. I know he probably didn't deserve that, but I'm going to be honest, for making me watch him drop every pass this year, he deserves it. And then, I think he's just nobody moves the way Jahmyr Gibbs moves. And you say you like guys who move different. Literally,
Jahmyr Gibbs moves different. Dude.
There's no one on this earth who does what this man does, in my opinion.
It's special. We're looking at a running back that in just about any other class, teams would be like trading up for to go get in the first round and fighting over. And now we're in a position where he might fall into the 40s somehow, and some team's going to get an absolute steal. The dude 0 to 60 is absurd. His pass catching out of the backfield is top notch. Like I said, the acceleration, the long speed, all of the stuff that you look for in an explosive guy, and then also all of the technical stuff is there. The only thing that you're really looking at is the fact that he's not big.
Yeah, he's got tiny ankles. That's really the only problem with him. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, he's got tiny ankles, but I don't care because his feet feel like they're never on the ground. He is the best footwork I've ever seen on a college running back. And I don't say that lightly. I legitimately believe that. Like, I think he has the best footwork of anyone I have scouted. I've only really done this for 5 years, so it's not saying ton, but I've seen some pretty good running backs in that amount of time. I don't think anyone else has the foot speed that he does.
I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, obviously I haven't done it for as long as you have, and neither of us have done it for as long as many people have.
Yes.
But that's the thing. It's the foot speed. There's a reason that he's getting comps to guys like Jamal Charles, who were during their time some of the best backs the NFL had seen. Like, the dude is elite when it comes to like so many different things. And the only reason that he doesn't get this kind of respect is because of the fact that we have a guy who is both of our number ones, who is just generational.
He's just Bijan. He's just
Yeah.
Bijan.
And I think that's the perfect segue into our guy who is number one, like you just said, Bijan Robinson. Meaning I have the second Texas guy I'm talking about today, but I figured, the dude is just, it's the perfect combination. It's catching out of the backfield at that size. It's routes at that size. It's being able to break dudes down, run them over. The amount of versatility he has just makes him not only, this isn't your old generational type running back where it's, top end runner, but we're not really looking at him as an out of the backfield threat. This is a guy that you look at and you're just like, he can do everything.
You could tell me that he threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in an NFL season. I wouldn't doubt you, because that's just the level of athlete the guy is. Like, he's insane. I don't know if he wasn't a running back, if there was this level of player at any other position in this draft, he's the number one overall.
He's going number one. The thing is, he's
a running back. Nobody wants draft running back. Look at Saquon. Saquon was great his freshman year. I almost said sophomore. But then I said freshman, didn't I? I meant to say rookie. You guys, you get it. It was great. He tears his ACL, has a high ankle sprain. He has a bad year, and now everyone's completely written him off. But he comes back. Like, nobody wants that to happen, where you get 2 good years of him and there's 2 years in between. Nobody wants that at a player, and they're scared that's going to happen to every running back.
That's the worst case scenario for a running back, especially when you want to be a bell cow, because you're looking at Bijan and you're like, how are we going to get the ball in this guy's hands 20 times a game? And there's like no running backs.
They lined him up at X at Texas.
That's the thing. You're not getting 20 touches a game as a running back without getting hurt. Like, the guys who get it in the NFL, there's like barely any, and they all have a consistent injury history. So like, the thing is, they're going to have to try to preserve him. And that's what scares people about running backs, is not only the fact that the tread comes off quick, but also it could come off earlier than you even thought, because of the fact that it's such an injury-prone position, because you're literally running into a car crash every play. So,
every damn play.
And that's what makes the running back position so interesting, because there's this big dichotomy of, do we spend first-round picks on a running back, and do we go for the 49ers, a team that was never viewed to value running backs? Do we go out and we trade for Christian McCaffrey, or are we going to, do what Miami's doing right now, and we're going to bring back guys like Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and just keep running the committee? Like, there's probably some sort of in between, but at the same time, there's only so many options.
You know, a team that I wish, I know that Bijan isn't going to go anywhere that I want him to go. However, could you imagine him on the Bengals?
Dude.
Could you imagine? I think they should get rid of Mixon. That's just me. The guy's had too many issues. He's
also, the cap hit is huge, and they're going to
NFL John Morant. Like,
they're losing. They're eventually they're in a position where they could lose key players because they have to pay Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon should probably be one of the first guys off the list.
The first to go.
That's the kind of guy that you don't want to be using cash on. Like, this is a whole side issue, but like, the dude's got, off the field issues. He was not consistent in the playoffs. They were getting good touches out of Samaje Perine. Like, I think that they're in a position where they could go out and get Bijan and then just completely transform their offense, especially after they just went out and they paid Orlando Brown. Like, they're putting money into the O-line. As much as people hate that move, I don't think it's bad, but whole different story. Imagine
we ain't got to talk about that right now. We can
exactly.
That's a song for another time. But yeah, that's all 5, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched a lot of different styles of running backs, which is kind of what makes this year fun. Is you've got the pure potential speed guy in A-Chain. You've got the pure power guy I talked about in Roschon Johnson. You've got Zach Charbonnet, who's he's kind of a mix of everything. He's not the best, pass catching guy, the mix of everything though. You've got the most creative guy in the class in Spears. You've got the generational foot speed type guy of Jahmyr Gibbs, and then you've just got the complete package in Bijan Robinson. So, I think if you,
it's a really underrated class. I know people are hey,
it's because
Robinson
it's running
is
back.
number one. Yeah,
it's because it's running back.
I know Bijan's probably the best player in the class. I'm just gonna be real with you. He might grade out as
regardless of position. He's probably the best player in the class.
But it feels underrated because you look at Gibbs. Gibbs is a first-round pick any other year.
Yeah, and then you're looking at I have Spears graded out as a round 2 guy.
I do too.
That's three or four guys that could go first round that you're looking at. I mean, first or second round. I meant first 2 rounds. That's 3 or 4 guys that can go in that position, and that's not even counting the amount of teams that are going to be higher on other guys. There's some team that's going to see the flashes in A-Chain. There's some guys who are going to look at, Tank Bigsby and see a better back. There's a bunch of different backs that teams are going to be high on.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of back end depth too, which I don't think people are talking about. There's guys like Eric Gray. We talked about Keaton Mitchell, Kendra Miller. There's a bunch of
Dwayne
dudes.
McBride.
Dwayne McBride's the leading rusher in the NCAA this year. Nobody's talking about him.
Yeah,
it's a weird.
It's going to be a fun year because you're going to be looking at these guys 3 or 4 years down the road and be like, this is what made up the depth of a lot of NFL teams. I think a lot of NFL teams, you're going to see guys that are getting 30, 40 yards a game on a couple of touches. And you're like, yep, that's another 2023 class guy right there. What a great class, because we don't think about him when we think about Bijan, who will probably be tearing it up somewhere.
Yeah, that is going to be it for the Weeball podcast. It was a quick one today, but, we wanted to get you this top 5. We wanted to get it to you quick. Nice little quick hitter. Like, comment, subscribe. We are on the come up. And, 96% of people who watch our videos are now subscribed. So you should do that. Make us feel better about ourselves. And, if you're on Spotify right now, you're listening to this, leave a rating, 5 stars. We'd love it. But whatever you got to say it with your chest.
And one quick thing. If you are listening closely, coming next week, I believe the date is Wednesday, the first of our prospect interviews will be releasing, and it's with none other than Cincinnati's Tyler Scott. Yes. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. Incredible. Those are coming, 4 of them coming over the next month. If you're a scheme and the ins and outs of football type of guy, if you're an X's and O's guy, you are going to love that podcast. So make sure to be on the lookout for that.
That is going to be it for us. We thank you for listening, watching, and joining us on this beautiful Prospect Friday.